may be kids' books, but we discuss dark themes and mature content. There may also be some explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
Gwen Stefani, get out of here.
Someone free her.
Where do you see her?
No, when I clicked back to it, there was like a full ad like covering the timer. And it was just a small picture of Gwen Stefani. And I was like, who is the...
No joke. I always loved Gwen Stefani. Being in a No Doubt cover band recently, I have a new appreciation for just how much of an icon she was. Will be.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Time Dot Was would say has been. Time Dot Is says it's now.
Whoa. Has been.
No.
You can't say has been that close to Gwen Stefani.
No, she's not a has been. Oh my God, we already have to start this episode over.
Why'd they do Chapman like that?
Why'd they do Chapman like that? Is that the subject line? For all those listening at home, welcome, Anidorks.
Welcome.
To My Heart song. This is...
the song that plays in my heart constantly, for anyone wondering. One Day Younger.
Oh, One Day Younger. I thought you were going to say 365 by Charlie XCX, but that's the song that plays in my nose when I'm bumping that. But anyway, bad joke. Anyway.
Don't do drugs, kids. Unless you want to. But be safe.
Unless you want to. But it's also really good. All right. So we have a mailbag episode for all y'all at home.
Why'd they do Chapman like that?
What? Yeah, this is... Yeah,
it's honestly, it's something I've been thinking about a lot. So
do we want to say who this is from now or at the end? Should be a surprise, like a little mystery for those listening at home. They'll be like, is this my email? The millions of fans who send in emails?
We love your emails. If you ever want to send an email, please just send an email.
Yes,
we read them.
Oh, I'm not teasing.
No, I know.
I'm living in my happy place.
I think we say it's Alex. That's what we have signed.
Yes.
We got Alex.
Yes, Alex.
Signed Alex.
Asking, why'd they do Chapman like that?
A great question.
It's a great question.
Okay.
So,
I think it might have been book 2 or so when we got to know Chapman a little. It painted a picture of a person who used to be a great dad, and then he got yerked and became, oh my God, Alex, you are so on to something with this. And then he got yerked and became a cold, bad dad. At some point in the book, he even wrestled with his yerk and was able to control his body a little out of sheer will and love for his daughter. Then we meet young, pre-yerked Popcorn Miranda.
Chapman in the Andalite Chronicles, and he's a psychopath. Did the author just completely forget who Chapman was supposed to be before the yerking? Was it deliberate, and we should infer that Chapman grew into the human his daughter remembers? Sorry about that. Popcorn Eddy.
Yeah, for the record.
I cynically suspect the former, but I'm still here scratching my head, wondering why even include him? Why couldn't he just be some random new kid? Signed, Alex. I agree.
Thank you,
so
Alex. Great point.
Great point. Excellent point. I think I need to raise the elephant in the room straight away and say, is this a 2 Chapman theory? Are there 2 Chapmans? Maybe it was just a grand coincidence that, the Chapman and the Andalite Chronicles... The Chapmans to the brothers Chapman.
The brothers Chapman. There's a couple things going on here, right? Because I was thinking about this recently. I was like, we saw Chapman, wrest control of his body away from the yerk simply because, and say that he only got yerked because he wanted to save Melissa. We also know that he did not remember any of the events of Andalite Chronicles. And we know that it was some sort of... We don't know that it was Elemist. We don't know if it was the Dark Force. We don't know what. But some sort of intervention occurred that brought Chapman back to Earth post leaving him in space. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Did whoever moved him change him into what he needed to be to go forward?
That was the worst of all possible Chapman?
Yeah, and a different Chapman came back to Earth. You know what I mean?
I think that Chapman grew as a character for K.A. I think I'm not going to take... I don't think it's that they forgot who Chapman was supposed to be before the yerking, as Alex says. I think it's just that I feel like maybe K.A. was just still getting to know the character as the series was going on. And I feel like who we get in Andalite Chronicles, unfortunately, is who Chapman is in the series going forward. And I feel like he was just a dad in book 2. Is it book 2? Yeah?
2. Yeah, it's book 2. So you think he was never actually that great a dad. He's just worse now that he's yerked. But he did agree to be yerked specifically so they wouldn't yerk Melissa. So, like, that doesn't really track. You would think that he'd be a voluntary controller for power reasons based on who he is in Andalite Chronicles.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of, like, they're trying to have him do some heavy villain lifting. Yeah. And like, they wanted to not throw too many new names at us, but I do think they stretched the character.
Yeah.
And it's, like, I agree. I actually think, like, canonical... Well, it is canonical Chapman, but from a different timeline. I kind of like Miranda's workaround. I'm not going to lie.
I also think it's possible that he, quote unquote, forgot what happened, but he could have actually, like, retained that making him a better person, if that makes sense. Like, his personality could have been affected by the events he went through despite losing his actual memories of it. So he could be like, wow, I was a power-hungry asshole, and that really didn't go well. And I don't know why I feel that way, but I know that it's true. Like,
yeah. I do wonder why they go out of their way to make him such a shitty little kid in Andalite Chronicles. Like, almost pointedly, almost like they're mad at the character or mad at us.
Or like he owes them money or something. Yeah. And they're like, we're going to do a full character assassination.
Yes. And, that's just interesting. I guess I'm not mentioning that as like an argument for either of Alex's points, but it was just so over the top, his characterization, and it is like an interesting question of just why make Chapman like that in that book. But I don't think, for me reading it, I don't think there's an easy way to make the two parts come together. I think it's just kind of strange. He's just Chapman's strange in this way, and he is like yeah.
Or he's a bad dude who loved his daughter. Like, that's possible.
Could be that.
Yeah.
And also, like, really, the one thing about the Andalite Chronicles that I found, like, at the very least, a little dizzying was, like, when he rejoins the timelines, there's, like, a disjunct with how, like, where was he before? It feels like
he just shows up and they're like, you've been missing. Like,
and so I think maybe it's just two different Chapmans. Like, and I don't mean like actually two different people named Chapman. It's the same Chapman hole in space-time. You know, your Chapman hole.
Right.
And it's where you put your Chapman.
Exactly.
And that Chapman is it's the same Chapman hole, but for a different universe. Like, we moved
right, like we grabbed him from somewhere else.
I don't know. I'm just trying it on. I kind of don't like that either. I feel weird. Yeah.
I have a question for Miranda's theory.
Okay.
Your theory is that Chapman is you're throwing out that Chapman could be a bad dude who loves his daughter.
But not like a bad dude.
Yeah.
Not like a cool.
No, I understand.
Like cool
like a
and not like a down bad dude.
I think we could all agree in that case, whoever that child would have to be pretty extraordinary, right? And I just don't think Melissa with the dead eyes is doing it for any of us. I don't think she's that lovable. I know that's a controversial opinion.
I don't think that's fair.
Her eyes are only dead since her dad got yerked.
Yeah, you try having a yerk dad. You try.
I think if you were truly that wonderful of a child, you would be able
Eddie,
to...
I think you're a wonderful child, and I think sometimes you have dead eyes.
Thank you.
Yes. Is that what you needed to hear from all this?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Alex, does that answer your question?
It's her dead eyes. It's her dead eyes. That's your answer. Yeah. Maybe he saw something in them. What is she going to look like when she's yerked if she's already got the dead eyes? And because she's going to be
maybe there'll be life behind her eyes again.
Yeah, there'd be like a little worm having lively eyes.
Okay. I'm sorry, Melissa. I shouldn't have said any of this.
I just think Melissa gets a bad rap, and I think it's all propaganda from a particular Anna Cool Kid.
Yeah. Can I say, she did come in third in our survivor Animorphs.
Oh, that's a really good hint at where we're going this session.
Well, but not in this episode.
Did we have a final 3 that season, or was it a final 2?
Final 3.
Yeah,
You know
so
what?
she made
Yeah.
final tribal.
And
Dude.
it was her.
Was she the
and
goat?
Jake? No one was. It was actually everyone got votes, and then it had to do a revote. So,
Man.
Wow.
and then
I
Rachel
thought
took
she
it.
was the
season of
greatest of all
Survivor.
time. Yeah.
Rachel deserved it.
Yeah, she did. She did. Okay, let's jump into our next email. We have another
Yeah,
email.
thank
from,
you, Alex. Thank you so
you,
much
Alex.
for sending that in. Yes,
What?
every email you make, we'll be watching it with our eyes.
What's our saying that we always say when we do mailbag? An email, a book keeps.
The
The kid's off the hook. I
Yes,
don't know.
That is it. That's what we say.
And by the kids, we mean our intrepid Animorphs.
Yes.
Not to be confused with our Animorphs, which is unrelated.
Yeah.
We
But
don't
if
like
you
it.
would like our children, the Animorphs, off the
Our
hook,
children, yes.
keep sending us
Yeah.
an email, a book. That's what we're known for saying this.
Oh my God! It starts now. It starts now. The great decline of the Anna Cool Kids. Oh man! All right, I'll start this one off, or does I started the last one? Miranda,
start
why
the
don't you start this one off?
Gonna start from, hey there, Anna Cool Kids. First off, I'm so glad you loved book 13 as much as you did. I was hoping you would. It's a fan favorite for a reason. While Tobias's first book does have a lot of important stuff in it, especially the big culminating moment involving the mall's glass ceiling, this one is still miles better, which, to be fair, is true for all of the kids' first books versus their later ones. Book 13 is so good, not just because of Tobias's character journey, but because of how exciting and high stakes the rest of it is as well. So much changes because of the events of this book, which makes it one of the most appropriately titled of them all so far. Popcorn Eddy.
The Hork-Bajir characters are so immediately endearing. Jara and Ket are so sweet together, and their determination to be free is very moving. That bit where they all chant, "Free or dead," is a great little moment of bonding between all of them. And there's the reveal, sorry, it should be "Free or dead." I don't know what our Hork-Bajir voice is. And there's the
Kind of
reveal.
like yours had a little Les Mis in it. Red, the blood of angry.
And there's that reveal that the Hork-Bajir eat tree bark. I love the dichotomy of them looking like walking weapons, but being the exact opposite, which of course makes it all the more tragic that they are being used as such. It's kind of interesting how both the Hork-Bajir and Taxons are being enslaved by the Yeerks, in part because of something they have no control over. The Taxon hunger made them a target of manipulation that helped the Yeerks to conquer them, and the Hork-Bajir's bladed bodies made them a target for their use as weapons. There's kind of an interesting connective popcorn, Chris.
Thread there, in my opinion. Anyway, so every time I'm there for a popcorn, Eddie's like, "Fuck you, Chris. I know you weren't paying attention. I know."
That's the nature of popcorn.
Dude, you literally, you popcorned it to me. I flawlessly picked it up and you just facepalmed.
Oh,
You were
I wasn't.
Shit.
I'm just exhausted from reading.
Anyway, saving these Hork-Bajir is also a bigger win for the Animorphs and the fight as a whole than they are used to getting. Still small scale, of course. Only 2 Hork-Bajir are now free, but it's nonetheless a victory that feels earned. Honestly, I think it's kind of fascinating that the series doesn't make it easier for the kids to save the victims of the Yeerks. I think a lot of other kids' series would want the characters to win more often in that way. On top of that, in the first book, they only managed to free one person by the skin of their teeth who ended up living in the forest and almost killed Rachel at a later date. And they did so, that was my addition, not CJ's, and they did so at the cost of Tobias becoming trapped as a bird. So it's quite fitting then, in this book, where he regains his morphing power, that they have saved not just 2 lives, but the lives of a species that had already, quote-unquote, lost. They saved Jara and Ket, with some Elemist non-intervention, and now the Hork-Bajir species has hope for the future. Literally shown in how Jara and Ket are planning to try to have a child. They really did move quick with that.
They did.
I would say focus on shelter first, maybe finding a job, but no, that was just a joke. But
They're going to have fun, Chris, making that baby.
Oh.
Cool, dude. Cool, dude. Real Marco of you. Like, real, like...
They are!
Anyway.
I'm always saying Eddy is the Marco of the group.
Oh, man. It's all really compelling stuff, that Popcorn Miranda.
Genuinely makes me emotional. I can't wait for you guys to keep learning more about the Hork-Bajir and to eventually get to the Hork-Bajir Chronicles. Oh, I'm so hyped for that.
That cover.
Be prepared to continue feeling a lot of emotions about this species. Before I move on to discuss the meat of this book, Tobias's emotional struggle, I just wanted to say I totally get your comments about Marco this book. He's pretty obnoxious in this one. But it's also not exactly unheard of behavior from him. He's made sexist and sexual comments like these quite a few times before. I do think it's exacerbated by being from Tobias's point of view. Marco wasn't very nice to him in early books, and while their relationship has improved, there's still a lot of friction. They also have known each other for the least amount of time aside from Axe. The other kids kind of grew up together, and that gives them a better understanding of Marco. For example, they would have known him before he lost his mom. So they have a lot of built-in empathy and understanding of Marco and why he acts the way he does. Tobias doesn't have that, and I think it makes sense that he would tend to read Marco's actions and tone in a more negative light than the others might. And while Marco's behavior is not great, it does feel pretty in line with how a lot of 13-year-old boys in the 90s would have acted. I do think if we saw some of his other traits, it would help him feel more balanced for sure, though. Anyway, Popcorn Eddy.
Let's talk about Tobias, our poor, sad bird boy. I always just want to give him the biggest hug after reading this one. First off, poor kid spends so much of it just tired and hungry. That's always something he has to deal with that the other kids don't. And it is one of the things that has aged him. You guys talked a lot about how the life he has lived has made him become a parented child. And it's so true. It was true before he got pulled into a war, and now it has become even more so. I think it says so much about his character that one of his chapters ends with the Elemist asking if he is happy, and we don't get an answer. There's always been a lot of ambiguity with Tobias, starting from it being unclear if he purposely tracked himself as a hawk, to how he has taken on an identity that in itself is ambiguous and hard to define. Something with no clear answer. He's been a tragic character since day one, but after getting the context of Popcorn Miranda,
Andalite Chronicles, there's just so much more to it. Because it was already sad that he grew up knowing his family didn't want him, that he was just passed between them like an annoying obligation. But to know that Tobias would have had a loving family, that it was taken from him, makes it even more tragic. He has spent all his life feeling unwanted and has no idea that his parents wanted him so much. Elfangor begged the Elemist to let him go back, that he couldn't bear to leave knowing his son would be left alone, seeing the pain that would await him. But it was too late, and Elfangor could not go back no matter how much he pleaded, and Tobias has no idea how badly he was wanted. Which, kind of breaks my heart. The silver lining is, of course, the fact that Tobias has found his family and place with the Popcorn Chris.
Animorphs, and this book solidifies that. You noted that it shows just how important his role on the team is, and that's really true. We've gotten glimpses of it before. It was usually him who had been scouting out Yeerk pools and the like, and he's always been one to throw himself into danger to help his friends. But now we not only can have him more involved, it is actively demonstrated why the role he has is so vital to the team. Specifically because of the experiences he has had, no one else can perform the role as well as he can. And we can see that extend to other roles that the characters have on the team as well. They've gotten to the point where they have all started to work well together to have their essential part on the team, and it's what keeps them functioning as one. Anyway, I also adore a bunch of the little character relationship moments in this book, especially coming from Rachel and Axe. For Axe, the getting Andalite Chronicles as content... Sorry, guys. I should have made this font easier to read for me.
You can do it now if you want. You can select Control A.
I should just zoom in or something.
That's the nature of the play space.
Yeah.
It is the nature of the play space.
Things can shift at all times.
Yeah.
What's a good pick? I just need it to be bigger. I'm working on a much smaller monitor. I
recommend Pacifico.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. It won't make it easier.
That's Command All, and then font. Let's do Comic Sans. I always have a good time reading. Actually, I find Comic Sans quite readable.
Yes, it actually, that's one of the reasons it was designed was for dyslexics. And then do you need it a little bigger?
Is that true?
Yeah, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
Thanks. You got that? Thank you. Anyway, I also adore a bunch of the little character relationship moments in this book, especially coming from Rachel and Axe. This is so much better. For Axe, after getting Andalite Chronicles as context, there's this neat connection between Axe and Tobias that brings another layer to the way they have naturally bonded. It's very sweet, and I like the little moment where Axe seeks him out to try and talk after the Ellimist gave him the morphing power back. Even though Tobias... Wow, this made such a big difference. This is incredible. Even though Tobias doesn't want to talk and flies away, it's still a great moment to show that Axe cares. They also have some really funny exchanges in this one, too. Eagles may fly out of my butt, and I am as peeless as you, Tobias, my friend, are bits that always make me laugh.
That was, I really liked I am as peeless as you.
With Rachel, Popcorn Miranda,
we get cute moments where she asks him honestly how he is feeling. Rachel wouldn't necessarily be thought of as a character that checks in on how others are feeling, but she does it consistently with Tobias. In turn, I think it's interesting the way Tobias's POV plays into how he interacts with Rachel. He interprets her, and the others, concern or worry as pity, and it makes him automatically want to hide his feelings away. He's fine, there's nothing to worry about. As long as he's alive, it's a good day. I think it's emphasized with Rachel because he thinks so highly of her, and how she thinks about him really matters in turn. It's not just about him having romantic feelings for her. Those emotions come from his deep admiration of her courage and fierceness and protective instincts. For someone who is all of those things, to care about him and want him around, the idea of her feeling anything that would paint him as pitiable, weak in his mind, something that could lead to him eventually being seen as a burden or unwanted, that would be so terrifying, wouldn't it? At the same time, we see how well they work together here, and I also love Tobias taking the female Hork-Bajir form when Rachel takes the male one. That's a great detail.
Yeah, that's pretty lit. Yeah, good point.
Also, they leap through fire together, and he immediately goes to her award ceremony when he's human. And the last words of the book are, "Hi, Rachel," and my childhood shipper heart just explodes from feelings. Well, I think this email has gotten Popcorn Eddy.
Long enough. I'm sure there's more I could talk about, but then we'd be here all day. As of sending this, you are going to start posting the episodes for book 14 this week. Oh no, we're traitors. That's one that tends to be a bit divisive. I personally have a lot of fun with it, even if I wouldn't rank it among my favorites. Oh, the guilt that I'm feeling right now.
No. It might be my fault. I did a post to Patreon last night. Everything's up in the air. Don't worry about it. Okay. It's fine. It might be my fault.
And considering some of the talking points you guys have had in previous episodes, I think your discussion will be a lot of fun. After that, though, you got a bunch of books that I can't wait for you to get to. 15 through 18 has really great stuff. And book 19 is a personal favorite that will lead to a lot of discussion.
I was 19, call me. Tegan and Sarah for the win.
Then 20 through 22 are easily some of the most anticipated books, period, and will likely also lead to tons of discussion. There's a lot to look forward to after that, of course, but the point is, you've got some seriously great stuff up ahead. And that doesn't even include the Megamorphs or Chronicles book. That's exciting. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff I meant to talk about and forgot, but I'll leave it here. Can't wait to listen to more episodes, and as always, I'm so happy you all have been enjoying the series as much as you have. Until the Andalites return, or next time, CJ. Hey, I recognize that!
Wow.
Oh, we love you, CJ!
We love CJ emails.
Absolutely.
And everything... I don't know that we hit everything CJ goes through here in our talking points, like, throughout the book, but I feel like we vibed on this book with CJ. Like, I feel like a lot of our feelings were really in line with this. Like, we talked about Tobias and Rachel actually almost communicating, but Tobias being like,
yeah,
but holding back. But I really like CJ's take on the burden narrative that Tobias has in coming from being a person who has felt unwanted.
Yeah.
And in, like, his extra incentive to not be seen as not helpful or not like his extra incentive to want to be as helpful as possible and not let anybody know that anything is wrong ever.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a really good take.
Yeah, and I liked what, because, I mean, maybe we said we were a little hard on Marco, and I think CJ's points here make perfect sense, especially that, like, a 13-year-old boy in the 90s and how they would have acted. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's because it's our child, and we are not used to seeing this side of him when he's with his
Yes,
friends.
we're concerned.
Yes.
We're concerned.
And we will talk to him about that, but in a loving, supportive, accepting way. Also, I do think, as I think the only one who's read, I don't know if either of you did, book 15.
Please do not spoil anything.
I'm not
read
I have
15.
not gotten a
anything.
chance to it.
I'm just going to say that...
Eddie, you have your spoiler face on. I see the twinkle in your eyes.
No. I just think that it's, and this has already been true before book 15, I think that Tobias and Marco, if they could actually connect, they would have a lot to talk about. And I think they actually have experiences and emotions that they'd be able to really bond over and help each other through. But it makes it so much more interesting that they are so antagonistic to each other much at a time. So...
Well, I almost get it though, right? Because like Marco deflects all of that stuff with humor. Like Marco deflects any serious feeling with humor, and Tobias doesn't want to bring up any of his serious feelings because he's worried that it will annoy people. So the things in common they have to talk about, neither of them is willing to actually talk about.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because neither of them are very good at being vulnerable or communicating directly, I would say. It's not really in the skill sets.
Lord knows Marco's not.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Marco's exactly like me, cracking a joke a minute and hoping never to have to say something serious.
Yeah.
But that's not really who I am, but that's part of who I am.
75%, I would say.
Damn, dude, that's a bad review.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
like not a passing
It's a
grade.
C. That's a passing grade. That's a passing grade. That's a C.
Yeah. You'll
Okay,
get
cool.
to the next
I
grade level.
never went to school.
Yeah.
The point is, I also really like the tie-in about the parental stuff and just that detail about like Marco's mother being known to the other Andalites is something I don't think I had like fully grokked in.
Tobias's
It's like
mother.
I guess they all know.
No, like that the other Andalites or that the other Animorphs knew Marco before
I
his
understand.
mom
Yes. Okay.
disappeared, so they know what he's doing is a trauma response. Like they've seen his behavior change.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
Tobias didn't see that, so like they write off a lot of those comments as like Marco always made jokes, but since his mom disappeared, like they got meaner and he makes more of them, whereas Tobias is like he makes a lot of mean jokes. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember like, and I apologize for not remembering this because we did do it and we also all worked on the episodes and blah, blah, blah. I don't remember if we like talked about this, but we definitely talked about it again in book 14 sessions where like the gaze on Marco seems to matter so much. And that like seems to be coming up here where it's like Cassie's understanding of Marco has a much more compassionate tone to it. She's much less frustrated with him in general than Tobias is. And that's something that I think we've been picking up as the books have gone on. And I just thought 13 and 14 were such nice, stark examples where it's like, okay, they're definitely paying attention to this.
Yeah.
As authors, they're paying attention to this, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
And I also think from where Tobias is standing, and we probably have already said this too, but Marco still has his dad, whereas the other kids have both parents, and they're like, oh, Marco's in a more difficult situation than we are. Tobias is like, you get to live with your parent, you get to know one of your parents, and he doesn't know, like CJ said, he doesn't know Marco as someone with a mom. So he doesn't have that sense of something having been changed or lost, which I do think that's a really interesting perspective to have. Yeah.
Eddie, I swear to God, if anything you've been saying rings as a spoiler, I'm going to go join another podcast called Eddie's a Spoiler.
You are so suspicious of me, but I'm not talking about it.
I am. You literally...
What did I spoil?
We'll find out what's
No, I mean in the past.
We're not doing that out in front of everybody. Anyway.
I don't even know.
I am just teasing
Okay.
you. I am just teasing
You've
you.
spoiled some Survivor things. That's definitely
did
true. I don't know.
spoil some
I don't
Survivor
know
stuff.
what
That's definitely true.
Animorph things you spoiled.
Hey, speaking of Survivor things.
No, we have to do reviews first.
Oh, you're right. And also, thank you again, CJ. I know we said it like 5-10 minutes ago, but like, thank you, Alex. Thank you, CJ. Like, this shit is what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here for the emails. We're here. We like, it makes our world go round.
And
So thank you.
CJ, I still have not told them that you are actually KA writing into our
If
podcast.
that's true, I need to open another phone line for the CJ line next to the KA line. I get a lot of spam on the KA line.
Yeah,
I
from
get a lot of
CJ.
calls where people are like, "Hey, have you thought about your car insurance?" Yeah, it's always CJ calling about my car insurance.
Extended
And I'm like,
warranty. Yeah.
See, my extended thank you. And I'm like, CJ, I got to keep this line open for KA. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to hang up.
Yeah.
And then,
But little did you know.
Yeah.
little did I know, I could have saved tons of money on my car warranty.
Yeah. Okay, should we switch to reviews?
Yeah, let's do reviews, and then that'll be a wrap for this mailbag episode.
Woo!
So
Here's
how do
the
we?
mail.
I have to go to podcast. We can't do that. That's probably trademarked.
I wasn't singing
so-
anything. I just was saying, here's
Yeah,
the mail.
It
Never fails.
It makes
shit,
me
dude. Oh shit!
wanna.
Do something.
Yeah, no. So
I don't remember.
something a dog might do, but I can't think.
Shake their butt.
Yeah, like a corgi.
Okay, I'm scrolling down to reviews.
I love
here.
dogs that wag their tail with their whole butt. It's like one of my favorite things.
I see that we have 2. Wow. Hey, everyone, we got, before these 2, we had a dry spell that
Which is nothing to be
lasted-
self-conscious about.
It's
No, it
nothing
happens to
it
everybody.
happens to everybody. And then September 12th, 2023 was our last one.
Wow.
And that was a good one, but now we just got 2 back-to-back. So, hey, keep telling your lovely ass friends to leave us 5-star reviews. We're at 25 ratings. And hey, whoa, can we gamify this? Would anybody be super mad? Let's it took us 2 years to get 25. What if we get 25 more in a year?
That'd be good.
yeah.
I'd like
Yeah.
that.
Should we go more or should we start there?
I think
Or
we
by
start
the end?
small.
Yeah.
All right, let's start small. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're starting very small. If you can tell your friends who I don't even care if they like this show, frankly. But a 5-star
I'd love it
review,
if they
and
did.
It would be so nice if they did.
I don't think we
right.
popcorn these. I think we just read them. Yeah?
Yeah, that's obvious. I can't believe you're
Duh.
saying that out loud.
Hey, I'm
sorry. No, I'm just. I'll take this deep dives into the Yerk
Got
pool.
it.
How about that? Okay. Deep dives into the Yerk pool. 5 stars. July 1st, 2024. Brightfire, little, like, smooth, like, little wavy hyphen tally. It's Brightfire tally is how you would say it.
Mm-hmm.
It is so fun. I'm now reading the review. It is so fun to listen to these guys do a first time read. As a longtime fan, I get such a delightful rush whenever they make theories or inadvertently foreshadow some traumatic future event in their jokes. My God, I feel like such a dingus.
Well,
so
I did do that with
that's really
we did
that's
that
a great review though.
we did that
do
with,
that
Marco's mom.
Yep.
When she,
she
drowned in
tragically
above ground
disappeared in an above
No, I
ground
mean the
pool.
review is 100% accurate, and that's why this review got 5 stars. Is
Yeah.
for its accuracy. That's how this works, right? These
Yeah.
reviews are the 5-star rated
we've been awarding
reviews.
them. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Can I just point out that one person's spoiler is another person's inadvertent foreshadowing of a traumatic future event. And
You're not
I
wrong.
now
It has
understand the
been- it is-
miscommunication that's
It is
happened.
true. It is true. I have to say, spoilers tend to make things better.
Yes.
It's true.
It's-
Studies
yeah.
have been done.
Yes. Miranda, do
All
you
right.
want to take this next one or should I?
Sure, I can do it. My favorite dorks, July 2nd, 2024, from MB Gardner. I've listened to so many Animorphs podcasts, but this is the first one I've managed to find early enough that it's still being produced. The Anidorks feel like just another bunch of my nerdy and queer PA friends, sheets greater than Wawa,
Hell yeah.
and I can't wait to hear more of their thoughts as they read my favorite series for the first time. I'm a sheets stan. I like.
I'm a sheet stand
I like
also.
Wawa.
Honestly, I was.
No, you
Wawa's
like bad
good.
food. You like bad food, and you like
I
you
don't
like
eat
bullshit.
the food at either. I get coffee.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Sheetz food, right? First of all, you don't have wonderful words like the Sheetza at Wawa.
yes.
Like, what would you call that?
I've never heard this.
Yes.
The Wawatsa, the Piwawa. Like, there's no way.
So
to,
what I would say,
I need to
the
be
other
eating
thing I'll
food.
say is, the other thing I would say is it's somewhat regional. I think Eddy wants to move away from their central PA past, and that's why they moved to. No, I'm just
don't
kidding.
need to
say
I
that.
can't say that. I'll bleep that.
Do you know how
I'll
many?
bleep
There
that.
are
I'll
4
bleep that.
houses. They'll find me quickly.
I will cut it. That
You
is
just
that
bleep
is
it.
my
Just
first.
bleep it.
I will cut it. Yeah, I'll cut it.
I
but-
did. I was driving down the East Coast, like drive down the I-95 corridor, and I found a town in which there was a Sheetz and a Wawa, and I was like I was like, what? You
No,
can't. How
Wawa's
could-
expanded.
This
Yeah.
is weird.
What I wanted to say before I so rudely had to edit that said something
For
that needed to
doxing
be
your
edited.
co-host.
For doxing my co-host.
You know, some people say spoilers, some people say
You'll say
doxing.
doxing. Hey, this is a real doxic environment. Can we move on from this? What I want to
about
say
Turkey
is,
Hill?
I watched Rudders. Anyway, but what I was gonna say is, I watched a part of a baseball game. I walked into a house where a baseball game was on, and it was the Phillies versus the Pirates, which is kind of like Wawa versus Sheetz.
Yeah, that's
And-
like Man United versus Man City. That's the derby.
I don't
Like,
know. I don't know why I never saw this before in my life. The scoreboard at the beginning of a game literally just says poop. It's P00P. I don't know why they do it that way, but it's not Popo. It's not POPO. It's
Wait,
P00.
why does it say that though?
And you're
It's incredible
You're
because
saying this
it's
is
the
all baseball
Phillies and the
games.
Pirates.
But wait,
okay.
how
okay.
is PO? What does PO stand for? And what is
P0. It's
Oh!
zero runs.
And they
P.
do it up. Okay, I understand.
No idea why they do that, but it just says poop and is really fucking good. Thank you for the great reviews.
Yeah, thank you so
Right
much.
Fire
Yeah, tell
Tyler
your
and
friends.
MB Gardner.
Are we correctly named?
If you ask a question, they have to answer us in the reviews. They have to give us more 5-star reviews to answer. But what were you going to say, Eddie?
This person says my favorite dorks, right? MB Gardner says my favorite dorks. But then in their review,
They're
they
talking
say
about somebody else.
what? They say
Clearly, we're not the dorks.
Clearly, we're
very
not
cool.
the dorks.
Oh,
we're
I
the
see. Okay.
CJ even said it in their email.
But they say that we are just like a bunch of nerdy and queer PA friends. Now, are we nerds?
I think we're
I
like
am.
cool friends. I think we're like real cool.
No.
Oh, well,
I'm
it
not.
says nerdy and queer. It doesn't say.
Oh my
cool.
god! I'll share this anecdote. I think we are just nerdy. I think that's obvious.
I can't speak for anyone but myself, but I can tell you all about all the various plushies, art, and figures that are on the shelf behind me if you'd like.
But do we feel like nerds or dorks? That's really my question. Are we?
Oh, I personally feel more like a nerd. It's just the dork fit better.
Yes.
And a nerds didn't.
It's also the name of our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely nerd. But
I think Chris is a
while we
geek.
were all
Ooh.
oh
No, geeks tend to have more tech capability.
Oh, then you're definitely. yeah.
right, Geek Squad. Well, I'll say this: when Eddie and I went on a trip recently with some friends, and Eddie was like mad at me for some reason and making some sort of joke. Oh, I was teaching a game or something, and you were like, "This sounds nerdy," and then you did this thing where you went, "Oh, this is like some Chris stuff." Big nerd stuff, and like 2 people laughed so hard when you said that I actually felt momentarily
Why do I
like I
say
was like,
things?
"Yo, dude, I don't know," but you're also not wrong. I think it's like
I also was just mad that we did not play the game that I brought. I think.
I know, which is the nerdiest of all. So really, it's just the nerd. calling the
Also,
nerdle.
one of the games you were doing was the kite game, and the kite game is very stressful.
Yes. Yeah. I'm actually
I
still
burned
suffering
it.
from
I burned
anxiety.
it. I
from-
threw it out.
Oh, good.
I threw it out.
Any game
I
that
threw it
comes
out.
with 6 timers is not okay.
I threw it out.
Oh my god! Exactly.
I
It's
thought-
playing Overcooked. It's,
Oh my god, I thought it was so cute. I threw it out.
No, it's just
I do like that game.
I put on Let's Go Fly a Kite.
I did like the game. I just also
I know.
developed ulcers from it. So
I know.
Chris, do you only know that section of the melody because it's in Tick Tick Boom?
Yep. I actually can't remember up
how
where
the actual
clouds
song
are bright.
goes. Yeah, it's
What
like
is the
I have
next
no
line?
idea how the song goes, but I remember.
Yeah, I only know a reference to the song. I'm gonna go watch. Yeah, we should end this episode. This is where this episode ends.
Where we're at is I start to hear something at times.
I hear
it fading out. I'm like, all right, we don't need to finish that thought.
Yeah.
The music's already louder there.
Thanks for listening to Anidorks. We'll be back soon with lots more to say. Until the Andalites return, or at least until next time. See you soon.